I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen for Tuesday, April 15th. Ashley, tell me any changes that we have for the agenda, please, ma'am.
I believe we had one addition for the consent agenda to make a hire in the Oxford Police Department.
All right, that's the only one I had as well.
And I believe the event Friday, the Hoppy
Oh, that's
Calls.
right. Yes, the ARC event. Do we have a memo?
It's attached, I believe, in your packet. It's online on the packet.
Okay.
It's
All
attached to the
right.
agenda
So
item.
then those two additions to the consent agenda and no others. Could I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? A quick mayor's report. My favorite part of my job is getting to do a 5th grade girls leadership class, and we went to Jackson last week, took 16 5th graders to the Capitol, and they got to hear from some of their legislators and tour the Capitol and tour the governor's mansion and get their picture made on his front porch. So we had a big time last week, and then they graduated yesterday. So I want to thank Kara Giles and Holly Tubbs who helped me with that program, and it is probably the most rewarding thing I get to do as mayor. Our 28th annual double-decker is a week and a half away. So start praying up some sunshine right now for the 25th and 26th. We have spent a lot of time talking about safety measures, and we've had a group that has been meeting since New Year's, since the New Orleans tragedy, and we are on our A game and have got some new things that we are going to put in place. It's a free festival, and we want as many people to come as can come, and we feel responsible for every individual that's there to keep you safe. So you'll see in our social media some of the things that we're implementing. A clear bag policy is one of those. In New Orleans, you know, a cooler was part of what the person used. And so we are going to be strict about coolers. We are going to ask that people use clear bags, and that's just for your safety. We ask that you will encourage others to do the same, and that you'll use your clear bag. The clear bag's only required in front of the stage after 5 p.m. It's not an all-day thing. Heard a lot of chatter about how am I going to carry my stuff I bought from art vendors. Well, you don't have to carry it in your clear bag. You can walk around with it all day long. This is for when we have thousands of people on North Lamar, shoulder to shoulder. We are going to do everything that we can to make sure it's a successful and safe event. This is not sparked by anything that happened in previous years. I've seen a lot of chatter about that as well. There was nothing that happened last year that has provoked us to put new things, other than we live in a different world and than we did years back. And so you're going to see us continue to put things in place to keep everybody safe. So 25th and 26th, get it on your calendar. Participate in the double-decker run that Saturday morning if you're so inclined. And looking at Amberlin Lyles and PD and the fire department and the electric department and all the folks that make double-decker happen, and building and grounds has got the square looking great. So thank you to every one of you that have such an important role in helping us pull off the Double-Decker Arts Festival. All right, I'll ask the board to authorize the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting on April the 1st and the recess meeting on April 2nd.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ask you to authorize the approval of accounts for all city departments.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ask you to consider the consent agenda with the 2 additions.
Motion to consider the consent agenda with additions.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, I ask Chief McCutcheon to come up and recognize some really special folks from the Oxford Police Department. The Attorney General recognized our Victim Services Unit with an award a week or so ago, and we are so proud, and we want everybody to know about it. So, Chief McCutcheon?
Yes, ma'am. So on April the 8th, the Attorney General Lynn Fitch recognized 4 organizations with the Outstanding Service to Crime Victims Award during a special ceremony at the State War Memorial in Jackson. This was held in honor of Crime Victims Week. Along with the honorees was the Oxford Police Department, and tonight we are proud to recognize the incredible team who makes this recognition possible. Ms. Valerie Booth, the original team member, took on this role in 2020 and has poured her heart and soul into serving victims in our community. Her commitment and compassion has been the foundation of the program's success. As the program grew, so did the need for additional support. Christina Hervey, who is serving as a dispatcher, stepped into this role to help extend the reach and impact of our victim services team. Together, these two remarkable women have built a program that offers essential, life-changing support to hundreds of individuals each year. There are a couple of program highlights I want you guys to know about. This is truly a one-stop shop for victim support, beginning from the first moments of a case. This team often engages victims while officers are still on scene, ensuring immediate and ongoing care. They connect individuals with critical resources such as housing, financial assistance, mental health services, and more. They don't just help victims navigate the court process, they walk alongside them every step of the way, including ensuring transportation and emotional support. Those services extend beyond the courtroom, continuing even after the case is closed. In 2025, with the opening of the new Oxford Police Department, this team was able to expand their reach through the additions of the Family Services Room. This space is designed to make children feel safe and comfortable with areas to play and relax while their caregivers receive support. The new facility also allows for virtual meetings with partners like Family Crisis, Communicare, CPS, Adult Protective Services, and statewide agencies, reducing the burden on our victims. In 2024 alone, the program served over 700 individuals, which is a powerful testament to its effectiveness and long-term impact on our community. To Ms. Valerie, Ms. Christina, thank you for your tireless service, your compassion, and your commitment to healing and hope. Your work is truly changing lives and building a stronger Oxford for generations to come. Mayor, I would end with this was a great idea, but it's only a great idea because you guys funded it. And if we don't fund it, if you don't see the vision, if you guys don't put your money where your mouth is, we can't do this. I think there's a lot of places that would love to do these opportunities. They don't have the support that we have. And so without this, there's 700 some odd victims every year that in other communities don't get what we get, and we couldn't do it without you. So we do appreciate that.
Well, we thank you, and thank you to all of our victim services unit for the services that you provide to our community. Right. Sue, request permission to approve a resolution of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Oxford, Mississippi, authorizing and directing the issuance of the City of Oxford, Mississippi General Obligation Bonds, Series 2025, in the aggregate principal amount of $5 million for upgrades to city infrastructure and buildings, along with the preliminary official statement as provided by Butler Snow. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. So in November of '23, the Board approved the issuance of up to $14 million in general obligation bonds for city improvement, city buildings, and recreational facilities. We issued $9 million in December of '23. And so we're asking now for approval to issue the additional $5 million to proceed with those projects. This resolution approves the notice of bond sale, authorizes us to publish the notice of bond sale, and it approves the official statement, which is the disclosure document in connection with that. And so our plan would be to sell the bonds May 20th, I think, is that board meeting that we're looking at selling it, and then close either late May or early June. So we're asking for approval of this resolution.
All right. Does anyone have any questions of Sue?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Sue. Next, we have an update from our wonderful tree board. I know we've got Cowan Hunter and Ed Kroom both here tonight. I think Cowan's going to do the honors. Got the support, though, back here on the...
Ed's here to support me today.
That's right.
So he graciously offered to come on up with me. Good evening. I am Cowan Hunter, and I do chair the Oxford Tree Board. And As the mayor mentioned, Ed Croom, a tree board member, is also in the room with us today. Other tree board members include Hume Bryant and Mary Hartwell Howarth. We lost a tree board member over, I guess, about a year ago now, Bill Freeman, and that position has not been filled. And we would encourage y'all to help us fill that position. It makes it difficult sometimes to be sure we're going to have a quorum at the meetings and that sort of thing. And also, Bill was a person who had very good ideas and a lot of interest in helping the community, and we need another person like that to help us. And so, to the extent that y'all have questions about the tree board in terms of filling that position or something, please feel free to contact myself or any of the other tree board members, and encourage anybody who might have an interest to come to a meeting. We meet on the first Thursday of every month in this same boardroom, and we meet from 11 to about 12 o'clock usually. So if somebody would like to learn about what we do, that would be a good way to start. So also, in terms of the tree board, just in general, what we do, we're your advisory board on all things trees. Whether that means trees that the city grows and plants and raises and has in our parks and in our right-of-ways and places like that, or trees that are part of what we call Oxford's urban tree canopy, which is all the trees in the city of Oxford as a whole and the benefits that we get from those trees in terms of climate and weather issues and all the other environmental issues that trees help us with. And so we do our work by meeting regularly with city departments. And so we spend a lot of time with Greg and the Department of Buildings and Grounds. The city's Department of Buildings and Grounds are Oxford's tree keepers. They manage all the trees that the city has in our parks and right-of-ways and around our public buildings. And we work closely with them and advise them and encourage them to do various things. We also work with the planning department, and in doing that, kind of keep an eye on development issues and talk to them about how things are going and how different things are being addressed in terms of planning and that sort of thing. We also work pretty closely with Mark on special projects because the tree board also is involved in looking at the money in the tree escrow account and figuring out ways to use that money for tree planting projects, which is a big portion of what that money is there for. So we look at the things that the city is doing in terms of renovations, building, and that sort of thing, and how we can do tree projects and things along with that. And so we work pretty closely with all of those people. We also work closely with the Mississippi Forestry Commission's urban forestry people. You may recall that Alex was here not too long ago to talk about a mapping project that they had done for the city. And so we work pretty closely with them, and with them, they provide us with a lot of things that are helpful. So I'm just here today to kind of tell you where we are on a few things, and just because I owe y'all an annual update about what we're doing, and so today happened to be a good time to do that. So things that we've been working on and done recently, we had obviously we had Arbor Day, and that was very successful. Mr. Hyman was there, and it was in his ward and out at Garden Terrace, which no one knows about, but is a nice little park with a great walking trail. And there was a good attendance. We've been having a lot of work. I mean, a lot of good things going on lately in these Arbor Day events. Get a lot of people coming to the events, and we had a lot of buy-in from the 5th grade at Central Elementary, who've been doing poster contests for us for a while now. That went great. And we also had 2 groups that showed up to help us with the event, and that was the Master Gardeners of Lafayette County and the group that calls itself the Friends of the Forest, which is a conservation group that has sprung up in recent months here in Lafayette County and Oxford. And so planted a few trees out there for that. Other things that we've done more recently, I'm sure y'all heard about the Ole Miss Big event and all the kids going around doing volunteer projects. Well, the city, through the tree board and the building and ground department, have regularly been involved with those events every year. And so this year was no exception. And over in Avent Park, we had a lot of girls from Tri-Delt dressed like sorority girls in tennis shoes and short shorts and all, but they got back there and managed to move a lot of brush and clear a lot of branches out of the back part of the park there for the Buildings and Grounds Department and in collaboration with the tree board. And I pointed out to them that if you go around town to a number of places in Oxford, most easy to find would be out where the dog park and the animal shelter are. A lot of really big trees out there. All those trees planted by Ole Miss students doing these same kind of volunteer events in past years. So that kind of stuff's been going on. Things that we're currently doing and have going on that might be of interest. We have a webinar coming up in May for cities across the state that is about Tree Plotter. Tree Plotter is the program that the city uses to map our trees. And it's also a program that the state encourages people all across the state to use in terms of cities, so that we can all have data that kind of works together and that sort of thing. So they're doing a webinar for us to help us catch up, because the city of Oxford doesn't have anybody who's currently inputting that kind of data. And so for the time being, Mary Hartwell and I are going to see if we can get some of that done and do that on that program. Also, want to mention, while we're here, we talk about inflection points and stuff, and I think we all kind of feel like maybe we're in one of those right now in terms of how we're doing things. The mayor mentioned, just because of some events lately, looking at how double-decker is secured. When I started on the tree board, we did things kind of a basic kind of way. The city boards ran in a basic kind of way. We did, there was not a lot of, as far as the meetings. Now, the tree board, a lot of people meet on Zoom or on Teams rather, and come to the meetings that way. A lot of people watch us on that. I did my first podcast with the city's podcast person just very, very recently, trying to answer some questions that a lot of people in the community have about where we are on some of the development issues in Oxford and how that impacts things like the urban forest and the trees around town. I think it's unsettling for a lot of people in the community, the pace of what's currently going on. And as someone who's lived here a long time, I've seen development before, and it has benefited us before, but it brings some unsettling kind of things in the community. And so having a thing like having someone who can do podcasts and stuff in the day that we live in is a thing that helps us get that information out and talk to people about it. And the tree board been dealing with a lot of that lately in our meetings, where people come and people call and people are concerned, and we want to deal with that. And I think we handle it pretty well, and I think there are things to tell people, but I think we're at an inflection point, because in terms of how the city manages our own trees and what we're currently doing, we're about to lose one of the people that is kind of key to that. And he's going to be retiring. And he's, wears a lot of hats and does a lot of things, and as the leader of the Buildings and Grounds Department, he kind of helps us do a lot of what needs to be done in terms of managing Oxford's trees. But he's not a professional arborist. And I think we're at the point where we really, really want you to hear us when we say that we're giving you our best advice, when we tell you that the city needs to start finding a way to try to get us a professional arborist on board in the Buildings and Grounds Department. I think we're just kind of at that point where we have been kicking that can down the road a long time, and this is not a job for an intern. This is not a job that we need for someone to come in fresh out of fresh out of forestry school at Mississippi State and try to be that guy. We need the city to find a way to come up with the money, and I know we're not wealthy and that there's gold all over the city of Oxford, but we need to find a way to be able to get someone into that job who has experience, can lead the crews in doing the kind of work that an arborist has to do, and also train other people and work with the tree board and other city departments and all to make this thing work. We're losing ground on how we manage some of that, and that's not Greg's fault, and that's not our fault. It's just we don't have the key person that we need to be able to really do the kind of things with our, for instance, our tree plotter software that we really need to be able to do in terms of keeping those inventories up, figuring out, using them in a way that allows us to quickly identify where the problems are, where we need to go cut trees, do those kind of things. And we're, I don't think we're at a huge crisis or anything like that, but I just think we're at a point where we've kind of been putting some things off, and we've kind of been finding out that we needed things we didn't know we needed, like someone to do podcasts and someone to do those kind of things. I think that's a good thing, that we've got people that we're better able to communicate with all the people in the community who want to be communicated with. But I also think we need to improve what we're doing in terms of how we manage the city's own trees, which are numerous, and include the trees that are up here on both ends of Lamar. That's very high dollar trees when you come to think about what people come to Oxford for in a lot of cases. So anyway, I've been up here a long time, but I kind of wanted to talk to you about that. Happy to take questions, emails, that sort of thing from any of y'all, or if you want to call or whatever, I'm available. Feel free to come to a tree board meeting. Feel free to talk to Greg about it, because I think he would like to talk to you about it as well. And I appreciate your time this evening, and I hope everyone has a good night.
Thank you, Cowan. Thank you for all that you do, you and Ed both, and Mary Hartwell. We very much appreciate your work and appreciate your recommendations. All right, at this time, I'm going to ask the board to authorize an appointment to the Affordable Housing Commission. We'd like to have someone on the Affordable Housing Commission that represents the Lafayette schools and the Oxford schools, and we have not had a Lafayette schools representative for a bit, and so I'm asking you to appoint Suzanne Riles as the representative for the Lafayette County Schools to the Affordable Housing Commission.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Request permission to accept the reverse auction bids for equipment for the Environmental Services Department. Amberlyn?
Yes, ma'am. We had reverse auctions last week, and this is for 2 8-yard, the small baby garbage trucks. They came in at $176,700 each, for a total of $353,400 budgeted.
So that was the budgeted amount?
Yes, sir.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, Amberlyn.
Thank you.
Request permission to accept a flood insurance quote from Wright National Flood Insurance Company for an annual premium of $1,890 for the OU Transit System.
Yes, ma'am. We received notification from FTA and MDOT that we are in a flood zone, so they're requiring us to have flood insurance.
Okay, well, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor? Any opposed? And thank you for being here tonight. Request permission to approve a list of budget amendments and reallocations, Ashley.
Yes, this is a short list of amendments and reallocations. You'll see the majority of them are increases to revenue and a few zero net changes to departments and a few additions. Kind of housekeeping.
All in favor? Any opposed? All right, request permission to approve a parade assembly permit for Oxford Lafayette Fuller Center for Housing to host a home dedication ceremony on May 17th from 3 to 5.
Yes, ma'am. So this will be a 2027 Brandywine for a 2-hour event, and we'll hold traffic and just kind of reroute that as they go around.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, Chief. Request permission to accept and adopt a street contract with UM Environmental Coalition for the maintenance of Oxford Way. Mark?
So the UM Environmental Coalition has 31 members who would like to be involved in the Adopt a Street program. It's a quarter mile on County Road 300, which is actually in city limits, and then it's a half mile on Oxford Way.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Consider a contract for professional services with Beard and Riser for the design of pickleball courts at Stone Park.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Consider amendments to change order number 2 and number 3 for the Oxford swimming pool renovation.
So the pool project, we're moving at warp speed to finish it on time. We have a little bit of backlog of change orders as we move this along. Change orders 3 and 4 were previously approved, although it was a slightly different amount, so we're going to come back and correct that amount. The net difference in the change orders, I said 3 and 4, it's 2 and 3, excuse me. Change orders 2 and 3 is $4,640. But again, those were previously approved except for that difference.
All in favor? Any opposed? Consider change order number 4 for the Oxford swimming pool.
Change order number 4 is again, is the lion's share of this is for the technology, which was an estimate. It was an item that was in the budget, but it wasn't included in the original contract amount, but again, it was in the budget. I passed out the swimming pool budget, and you can see that we have it, the technology listed.
Under budget.
Yeah, we're under budget. The total, if you approve this, the total change order for this project are under 4%. It's like 3.8, which is really a pretty good range. So we're asking for approval and hope this will be the last one because we're getting closer.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Request permission to accept the bids received and award a contract for the right-of-way maintenance.
So Amber and I have been environmental service been working on this. We received these bids on Friday afternoon, this past Friday at 1 o'clock. We did receive 3 different bids from 3 landscape companies. Thornberry Lawns, CBLA Management, which I think is out of New Albany, and then Smith Lawn Management. So we bid 68 areas, 68 right of ways around town. Last year we had about 66 we added to. If you take those two, we did an itemized list of the areas you can see, and what I'm proposing, I put this in front of you. What we're proposing, based on the prices, is for Thornberry to take the areas in orange or yellow, and Smith Lawn to take the areas in green. And if you do that, that's splitting the contract amount so that the annual contract with Thornberry would be $71,712, and with Smith Lawn would be $77,440. So that total for all the right of way is right under 150,000. So that amount is actually lower than the lowest amount if we just took one. And we tried to group those areas in a way that makes sense for them. I called them both this afternoon and just said, this is kind of what we're thinking. Yeah. And I think they're good with, we're not gonna have one guy cutting this side of the road, another guy cutting that side. So we've taken care of that, and we feel like it's a pretty fair way to do it.
I will say this, very good job, Amberlyn and Mark, on this. And last year, it worked very well with them cutting, and I think we've talked about this for several years, and it's a real difference. So Thank you.
One other thing we did, which I think will be good, is we got a unit cost if we want to add. Thornberry's at 1 cent per square foot, so we can, and that's for flat ground, it's 2 cents if it's slope over 3 to 1. We've got some ways to add.
And we know what we'd be adding.
Right.
Without going back to the
Yes.
quotes, we can
Motion made.
determine. All in favor? Any opposed?
Thank y'all.
you. Thank you. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Amberlyn. Consider change order number 1 and payment application number 3 for the North Lamar Sewer Project. John?
Yeah, so this change order, what we're asking for, we're gonna encounter some really bad soil conditions up around Ryland Way and around North Lamar where we're laying our new sewer line up there. And it's gonna require a full undercut and haul off material and bring in a good material. So this change order covers that extra work that is gonna take place. We've done some soil borings in the area, so we know what's coming. And so we're just trying to get out ahead of it. Motion made.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Request permission to approve revisions on change order number 4 and 5 for the Oxford Square Downtown Detention Project. John?
Yeah, so we caught an error in one of the change orders, change order number 4, where a deduct was actually counted as an increase in the contract amount. And so what that did was dominoes down the line. The next change order, the contract amount was off, and then the next change order, the contract amount was off. The amount we've paid to the contractor is not altered. That was still paid based upon the work that they did and the quantities that they used. But the actual contract amount as it's reflected on these pay apps and these change orders was an error. So on the memo that you have, I've kind of summarized what those changes are going to be and what they're in red. So again, what we're asking is just revise the contract amount on each of those change orders. So it is correct, but the amount that was paid to the contractor is not altered. They are not owed any more money or anything like that. So we haven't overpaid them. So this is strictly just a numbers game.
Motion made. Good catch.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? All right, board, I will ask you to consider an executive session.
No.
Oh, no.